Hey guys, welcome back. I have a feeling that this is going to be an exceptionally short and sweet episode. I have a lot going on in my life, and some of it is not great, but some of it's really great, and I'm really happy with a lot of it. So I'm traveling, in case this background looks different, and in all the hustle and bustle of the travel, I missed my first week since restarting entrepreneurship. And to be quite honest, it would be totally acceptable and totally fair to have skipped this week's recording as well, but just didn't want to do that. I wanted to focus on some external things. And even with everything going on, it's really interesting how lessons will show up multiple times in multiple ways across business and in life, for me, at least in particular. I would assume for a lot of people listening as well. And so I figured let me focus on that for a little. So this is going to be more free flowing than ever. I have like some bullet points right now, but I didn't actually write it out like I normally do. I'm not sure where this is going. So hopefully you enjoy the ride. But the whole premise of today and what we're talking about, I feel like a teacher all of a sudden, is it has been coming up so blatantly, so obviously for a while now to just really focus or be so keenly aware of where my focus is going. And so last week it came up twice in my business. Like it just literally people were talking about like refocus your attention and all that stuff. And then this weekend I had a personal thing come up. And even with that, I can feel the tension between like where my brain wants to focus and where might be an alternative place to focus. Um, but so I lost someone insanely important to me this weekend, one of my favorite people on this planet. And I don't want to talk about that really because I can't right now. But the whole point is that obviously with grief and with loss, it is so sad and so much comes up and all of it is so valid. And as I was trying to fall asleep last night, like just exhausted and depleted on every level, the one thing that kept kind of coming up is just I have very complicated feelings with life and loss and life after death, if you believe in that, or not even life after death, but like what comes next. And I think so much of it was because of how I was raised and because I lost my dad. Like I wasn't that young, but I was younger than most people that lose their dad. And one of the things that helps is for me personally is like, this can't be it. If energy always exists, if you cannot create or destroy energy, then the energy has to go somewhere. And we don't know where it is, and we might be interacting with it differently, but like the energy literally cannot be destroyed. That is a law of physics. Um, and so refocusing the energy from the loss and the pieces that you don't get anymore to the refocus on either for some people, like, or in me too, like the amazing memories that you do have and all the life and love and time that you did get and the new interactions that you get to have depending on what your thoughts are with all of that, that refocusing, well, it obviously didn't take away what's going on. Um, it definitely does bring some comfort and also like about to get like so woo woo, and I promise we'll get back to business with all of this. But when you just look at the phenomenon of near death experiences and now how they've been so studied and there's so many commonalities and similarities that nearly everyone says about like between like the perspective shift of being in the body to being out of the body to the like homecoming, and how you're just met on the other side with like everyone you've ever loved, who's ever loved you. And people talk about how that feels more real and this overpowering love than you could ever even dream to experience. And just everyone just talks about like the love and peace and how so often like they don't actually want to come back here. They want to stay there because that just feels so much better. So again, I know everyone has like different thoughts on all of this stuff, but to think that this person might be might have gotten to experience that, might be experiencing that now, like that refocus is one of the most beautiful things that I can think of when like everyone here is in so much pain and so much turmoil and so much shock. Um, and like my mom and I were just talking about like, who do you think met him? Like, who do you think is there waiting for him? Like, whether it's like his mom or my grandparents or my dad. And it's just that refocusing that like just really, really can like make or break you as you're going through these moments in life. And yeah, and because this is a business podcast, I will bring it back to the business, but it's just so wild and so fascinating. And so of course this is how it goes that like last week the same message was coming up in the business and obviously right now I care way more about the other stuff than the business. But yeah, for the past few weeks I definitely found myself just in it. Like things have finally felt like they've turned around for the better. Like I feel re-inspired in my business. I feel refueled up by my business. I feel so proud and like so sure of myself and what this is contributing to my clients, to me, all of that stuff. Like it's just been so great feeling. And still I found myself getting caught up in the like, oh, well, this is nice over here that this is happening, but this thing over here is still frustrating me. This thing over here is still a thorn in my side. This thing over here is still making me feel, whether it be like unappreciated, being made a fool of, which like I'm sure that is not the intention at all, but just like sometimes things that have nothing to do with you that are happening around you or to you or from other people towards you, like it all comes back to like how it makes us feel, what it brings up in us. And like these things over here were really making me feel stuck in them of like, oh, no matter how great this stuff is over here, it's not good enough. It doesn't matter enough. It doesn't count because I'm still having to like work through these things over there. And and I found myself fighting myself of like, it's okay, it doesn't matter, it shouldn't matter, but it did. And it hurt and it was frustrating. And I found it seeping into other things because even I would go to make content and I'd find myself being snappy and sassy and like passive aggressive and underhanded sounding and feeling, which is not who I am, which is not who I want to be. And it was just creating this bigger cloud, um, that like when I stopped and looked at it and got support on it, it was just kind of like, yes, this is happening. Like that is true. That like it is a fact. And also look at what it's bringing up in you. Look at how it's making you go to market thing. I didn't post any of that stuff because I was like, this isn't my vibe. This isn't who I am. This isn't who I want to be. Um, but in talking to someone and working through it, which is kind of like reorienting that vibe and even reorienting the vibe of like, okay, cool, I might have learned some things about the situation and some clients and some things like that. But rather than come back to it from the, I've learned this and now I have this like tough skin that I need to like, no one's going to mess with me and blah, blah, blah. And like existing and going forward with that energy, I realized that like I don't like to follow those people. I don't like to be in that vibe. Like I'd rather be like if I had posted some of the stuff that I wanted to post, if I had spoken to business owners about what was going on, I could have gotten so many people around me being like, "Yeah, you're so right." And I hate that. And we're turned into this like complaining, negative, just like vibe sucking echo chamber, which like is cathartic and is helpful at some points. But that's not what I want to bring more of. So in that moment and in talking to one of my coaches about it, it was so empowering to be like, yes, this is all true. And also, instead of focusing on like the frustrating part that happened, also, it's all fully taken care of. It's like done. Don't have to think about it ever again. Um, Instead, though, it was like, okay, now we know what we want. Now we know what our boundaries are. Now we know how we're setting up our systems and all of that stuff. And now we know who we want to work with and who we don't want to work with and all of that stuff. So rather than coming to it from the like, ugh, frick them type of energy, we can come to it from the, these are my people over here. And I know that like, this is how my people respond to me. This is how my people come to programs to work together. This is how they show up and the energy and the communication and all of that stuff. And I am so excited and so inspired and so lit up to work with these people. And people can start to opt in and opt out because if that's their vibe too, it's going to resonate with them. If that's not their vibe, it's not going to resonate with them. But I would rather find my people by focusing on the parts that I do want and what I am calling more in of and all of that stuff and attract through that vibe than attract through this like negative vibe. And also even on top of that, like I was discounting so many incredible things that was going on in my life and business because I was letting all the other stuff over here kind of cloud it. Where when I think about what's coming in and the people who are finding me and the clients who are saying yes and the projects that we're getting to do that just feel like they're like materializing out of the ethers, even though like I know it's because I'm putting in the work. I know it's because I'm showing up. I know it's because people are talking about me and the agency and the work that we're doing, but it still feels so magical and so abundant. And the conversations that people are coming to me with, which is inspiring now, like a small group program that's percolating in my head that I'm excited to talk about soon. But it's just like all of these beautiful, magical things that I've been hoping for and praying for are starting to come to fruition. But again, it was like, well, until the contract's signed, until they say yes, until we start working, until the project's done, whatever the case may be, it was like I wasn't allowing myself to focus on that. And so this is just your reminder because for me, it's really coming up in every single part of my life. But like, as much as I hate to like be the cheesy person, like where our attention goes, our energy flows, and life and business is always going to be a bunch of contrast, like pros, cons, beauty, ugliness, all of that stuff. And while we need to experience all of it and let ourselves feel all of it and for sure get caught up in all of it or whatever you need to take care of yourself through it, it's going to keep going no matter what. So, especially as leaders of businesses, it just is such a powerful reminder of where we have the option and we get the choice to choose how we move through things, how we move forward, which parts we take, which parts we leave behind. And also, real side note, and this is like maybe a woo woo thing, but this is also like one other piece that I do want to leave you with is your words and your actions really do dictate your reality. And I can say that in like and I totally mean that in like a metaphysical, magical woo way, but also from a very practical business standpoint. A few months ago, when I was starting to really play around with this and coming out of like a more, like a lower kind of like low key depressive period, if I'm being honest, I was starting to make that shift out of it and being really intentional about where my mindset and like my focus was going. And I remember posting a like a TikTok and a reel at one point just saying like because I was getting so frustrated of like I'm feeling lit up again. I'm feeling inspired. Where's my cookie? Like I'm the type of person where it's like I did the thing, I did the hard thing, like where's my winnings? And again, I could have gotten caught up in that. And sometimes I still do if I'm being so honest, but I remember finally just being like, no, I've decided that like because I'm showing up as me and because I'm showing up excited and inspired, the right people are going to be hearing me and finding me and it's going to be resonating with them. And the quote I said was, even if the views were 3 and the likes were 0, I've decided that the right people are hearing it and it is meeting them where they are and it is helping to bring them to where they want to go. And I remember like getting a comment from this random person who's like the coolest gluten-free baker. I follow her now. I'm obsessed with her content. And it was just one of those things being like, I needed to hear that. And like she has like 15,000 followers or something like that, where it's just like one of those things where it's like, wait, even though we're both seemingly in different places, we're both experiencing the same thing. And so we were just going back and forth. And then we were kind of DMing and she was like, I just like want you to know that like you said, even if it seems like no one's hearing you or it's not connecting with anyone, like the right people are hearing it and seeing it. And of course, I was talking about my marketing, and this is very much like a reminder about your marketing and your sales and just like how you're moving through the world. But she had said that and she was like, and I just need you to know, like, I needed to hear that. And so you were so spot on. And that would have been beautiful enough, honestly. Like that felt so connective and so cathartic and so healing, I think, to both of us. But just to see the continuation of that, like since then, I've had the most random prospective clients reach out to me and just be like, so and so, like you came across their feed, they sent it to me. Or one person was like, I found you here and then I binged all your content. And then with that one in particular, we had our perspective call, and it was just one of those like the way that he was just so genuinely warm and kind and complimentary, and the way like it felt like his words were just like pouring over me like honey of just like the beautiful things that like you hope that people like feel and how you resonate with people. Like he was bringing it back to me where I had said, I don't know if anyone's hearing this, or I don't know if the masses are hearing it, but the right people are hearing it. And that's exactly what he said. In addition to the baker, in addition to the other person who came um, in addition to, I am traveling. I'm in London right now, and I was seeing some friends yesterday, and one of them was like, "Hey, by the way, I listen to your podcast." I was just like, I had no idea. Like, he's a nurse. He has no reason to listen to my podcast, but like, it just comes back to where what you focus on, what you decide in life, in business, while oftentimes easier said than done, it really is kind of the cheat code to navigating through all of this. And so while this was a winding path, I hope, if anything, I hope it's a good reminder. I hope it's like a warm, cozy reminder of we get to choose what we're focusing on. We get to choose what matters to us. We get to choose, like, regardless of what comes our way, how we're bobbing and weaving with it and how we're using it to fuel us for better and for catapulting us higher rather than bringing us down. So that's what I'm focusing on this week. I'm probably going to tune off or tune out, shut this down, turn this off, stop recording, um, take the day off, go for a walk in nature in the park behind me, read a book, take care of whatever baby Katie feels like she needs. But I hope you all have such a good day. I hope you all are just taking account for all the beauty and all the love and all the wonder and all the success you already have in your life. I hope you're holding the people who matter most closest. I hope you're telling everyone you love how much you love them. I wish you nothing but success, both out in the real world and feeling it on the inside. So until next time.